Why is Zeekr coming so fast in all the European markets at once, like in 3 years?
If you look to the DNA of Zeekr, one part of the DNA is speed. Speed in developing products, speed in developing the technology, and speed of bringing the cars to market. Especially in Europe, where we see the EV market expanding very quickly, we take every opportunity to go as fast as we can.
What is the difference in applying to the market Zeekr compared to Lynk Co? Because you've launched already Lynk Co. What is the difference with Zeekr? Because everyone knows Zeekr, and back then Lynk Co was a brand new company.
For that question, we need to take a step backwards. When we launched Lynk Co in Europe, Lynk Co in Europe was basically introduced not from a product point of view, but more from a business point of view. Lynk Co was not having the traditional model of selling cars to customers, but most of the customers went to a subscription model. However, the product of Lynk Co were already very good. Zeekr has basically been derived from Lynk Co technology and base. Basically, the products of Lynk Co were already good, and Zeekr derived from that start of product positioning and development. Because in Europe we saw that there was a gap towards mainstream and the premium makes. With Zeekr products we will fill that gap. And if we compare ourselves to Lynk Co and currently as it is and Zeekr, we see Lynk Co now more evolving into, let's say, the sporty premium, whereas Zeekr will be positioned more towards the luxury premium.
Can you tell me a bit more about the pricing strategy of Zeekr in different countries in Europe?
For the pricing strategy, I can say that we have quite stable pricing methodology. What we do, we compare ourselves always compared to a certain basket of competition, which is be very stable, and we adjust our prices towards these competitors. That we do for one country, but also across the countries in Europe, we basically evaluate every net prices, which basically is prices without any tax. Because we don't want people having doubts of buying cars in their country or in other countries where the prices are different too much. So we have quite stable prices across Europe from a net price point of view, excluding taxes. Now, when it comes to the retail price, we also are quite stable. And we try always not to move the prices as much because it always impacts also the residual value and the demand for the second-hand market for customers. So overall, the value of a Zeekr product will always remain stable. Now, if we look to competitive makes from other Chinese brands, we can also see that for Zeekr it's different. Zeekr has been developed and implemented in Europe from a European point of view. We don't just import cars and sell the cars in Europe, but we develop and engineer the cars in Europe. Which means that in terms of build quality, in terms of specification, in terms of durability and trust, Zeekr is more or less can be considered as a European company, different than the regular Chinese makes importing cars in Europe.
How is Zeekr covering 10 years warranty? How much of it is backed by actual data condensed in like Geely's products in China, and how much of it is a projection of high quality of parts delivered by different companies and the process that the company has?
The first starting point, when we talk about warranty we use basically to build trust within the consumer community. We're so convinced about the quality and the durability of our products that we certainly extend our standard 5-year warranty with another 5 years if you just apply to the regular maintenance scheme as indicated by Zeekr. So overall, up to 10 years warranty for each and every product from Zeekr.
What is coming from China in the next, let's say, 1-2 years? Not in terms of specific models, but probably in terms of technology, batteries, advancement into Europe.
Now, what we see in the product portfolio in China, their development is going even faster. And the move for Zeekr in China is always to move towards the more luxury positioning in segments. In Europe, we will apply the same strategy. We're so convinced about the quality and the build the elements of our products that we are very confident to also move into the luxury segment. How and what will be more clearer in the near future, but for sure we will not move only towards the premium segment, but also towards the luxury segment. As a flavor, if you look to the portfolio in China, more or less you can guess and estimate which kind of products will come to Europe. But I must say, the European standards in terms of luxury are quite high. So therefore we need quite a good timing to prepare our products and adapt our products for the European market.
So my first question is going to be, what do we do with batteries if we have any issues with batteries in Europe?
So as soon as we will have any problems with our battery packs are basically created by two different suppliers. One of them is CATL, and one of them is our in-house supplier also, which is part of the Geely family. As soon as we will have a problem or something that needs to be or refurbished or repaired on a battery pack, as soon as a battery pack from our NMC battery pack, which is made by CATL, if it requires after-sales service, we got CATL, they have a European after-sales department, which come over to the workshop itself in order to service the battery pack. May this be a service on the battery pack itself, and if it's not possible to service it for whatever reason, it might be an accident or something else, that we require direct replacement, then CATL has also a warehouse at our Zeekr warehouse where they can also do the one-on-one swaps.
So it's going to be, we extract the battery, keep it in Bulgaria, for instance, service it by CATL in Bulgaria, or transport it somewhere to their warehouse.
That's correct. That's correct, because workshops, they have licenses in order to store one battery pack, like an independent battery pack. So as soon as the new battery pack will come in, we can just directly get it out of a crate where the new part is stored, and put the old one back so it can go back to our European warehouse, where it will be put into its new life cycle as a new refurbished battery pack.
What happens with the Chinese batteries?
The Golden Brick battery pack, that's actually a battery pack that's made by our in-house battery pack. And those ones, they are being serviced by Zeekr together with our Geely-owned in-house supplier. So as soon as we will have a service that's required, that's actually being done by our national sales company leads, which have been trained in order to service these battery packs.
Will it have to be transported somewhere, or will it be fixed somewhere in Europe?
It will be fixed in Europe. So as long as we can still do the service, it will be fixed on the spot at its location. So that means that from our European warehouse, which the main one is stored in the Netherlands, and we also have localized locations in the northern, southern, western and eastern part of Europe. In those locations, we also got a parts distribution center. But they have more frequent available parts. As soon as we got some parts which are not as frequent available, they will come from our main European warehouse. So in this case, for example, if we would have a high voltage battery pack service, that means that parts are already in Europe, so the service can be performed pretty fast.
If we crash a 7 GT today, how long is it going to take for you to deliver parts like fenders, headlights, back panels, any of that?
So right now our European warehouse, they're already prepared and they already have almost all major parts. Let's say we got over 90% of all the parts. They're already available in our European warehouse as of now. So if something has to be serviced as soon as possible, we can talk about days up to maybe a week of delivery time for our parts in our European warehouse.
How is the LFP Golden Brick battery charging so fast?
So actually our LFP battery pack is actually called the Golden Brick battery pack. The Golden Brick battery pack is called like this because it actually has performed rigorous testing for fire hazard, extreme cold temperatures, crash protection and also super speed. Because the energy density is so high on these battery packs, it's able to maintain that speed. So because of the specific configuration inside of that battery pack, together with the fact that this is an in-house built battery pack, so that really gets the best out of it. Using, for example, a battery pack from an external supplier, let this be a BYD short blade battery pack, a Panasonic battery pack, a Samsung battery pack, a CATL battery pack. Though, as these vendors, they use more generic strategies in order to make sure that they fit into multiple different vehicles. That's the reason why the performance, even though it is good performance that they give, they cannot give the same performance as what we do in our Golden Brick battery pack, because that's all tuned in and dialed in together.
Is there anything that you believe is important to share?
I think the most important thing what I want to add to, that's actually something that we have discussed prior, is the fact that how Zeekr is being built, especially in Europe, because Zeekr is really a brand that's co-creation. So not only do we make the car and we just hand it over, because that's the whole reason why Zeekr actually exists. Zeekr actually exists out of a necessity that we noticed that nowadays the automotive industry is really one directional. So I really noticed that a car is being ordered, sold, manufactured, shipped, delivered, and then you see the car maybe the next service time, or when the customer will go in for a trade-in for a next potential car, because we really believe in co-creation, and we really want to have the feedback from our customers, what they like, what they don't like, so we can also keep on building it, or software-wise, because it is a software-defined vehicle, or hardware-wise in the next iteration. So what really Zeekr sets apart from the rest, that's actually not only that Zeekr is being built out of a necessity, because we really noticed in the automotive industry that everything is becoming very stale. So basically a customer, he places an order, car gets manufactured, gets sent over to the dealership, gets delivered, and then you'll see the customer maybe the next service appointment, or when he comes over for a trade-in or a repair or whatsoever. But the car, as soon as it has been delivered, that's your product. And it won't get any better unless you will trade in your car for another one. What really is the power at Zeekr is really that we really believe in co-creation. You can actually see it in a lot of different things. We ask for the feedback from our customers. Even in our mobile app, we got our Zeekr Builders app, which we use in order to get that feedback from our customers, to make sure that, because this is a software-defined vehicle, that we can or make the software improvements, or in the next iteration of the vehicle, that we really can get a hardware improvement. Zeekr 7 GT is a really good example from that, because our customers, they really like the Zeekr 7X. They had some minor feedbacks which they want to have improved on. And you really notice that the Zeekr 7 GT has these quality of life improvements, what people have been asking about. And I think that's one of the many strengths that we have as a brand.